Welcome to Bite-Sized Buddhism. In the last lesson, we explored this important question: who am I, according to Buddhist philosophy? Let's go deeper into this question in this lesson. We shared that in Buddhism, what we call the I, me, or myself, is made up of these 5 aggregates or panchakanda in Pali. These 5 aggregates are the ever-changing physical and mental energies made up of these 5 things, which are the body, sensations, or sometimes known as feelings, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. To understand how this teaching came about, we have to go back to the time of the Buddha. During the time of the Buddha, India had not yet existed, and different states were fighting for dominance. There were societal changes from an agriculture economy to a merchant class. The warriors were also becoming powerful when they conquered states after states. The social caste system, where the Brahmin priest sits at the top of the class, was being challenged by the warrior class as well as the merchant class. People were stressed, and they were finding a way to live towards happiness and question the nature and meaning of existence. Similar to what we are living in today's world, with a lot of strife and stress, and many of us wondering, why are we stressing for? At that time, Brahmanism was the major religion in certain parts of India. According to Brahmanism, the soul is the monistic principle that is the first cause of everything, and it is impersonal. The monistic or universal principle is known as Brahma. The Upanishads, which is the philosophical sect of Brahmanism, later explored theories of the soul to explain the nature of existence. The Upanishad explored the characteristics of the soul and said that it is free from death, free from sorrow, have real thoughts, has physical personality but is subject to death, and therefore the physical is not the soul. Individual souls are manifestations of the universal soul. The philosophy of the Upanishad is reflected in the Bhagavad Gita, a key philosophical text of Indian yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita, Prince Arjuna, who is reluctant to go to battle against his extended family, is being advised by Krishna to fulfill his duty and not let his ego make excuses to avoid battle. Krishna said that killing does not eliminate the soul, since the body is just a garment of the soul and can be discarded at any time. There were other schools of thought, such as the fatalists, who resign themselves to fate and they don't do anything to change or transform their inner experience. There are also the materialists, known as the YOLOs today, who identify only with the body and one life. They are also annihilists because to them, after death, nothing is left. Then there are the immoralists, best represented by Donald Trump today, who does not believe in consequences of his actions and speech. There were also the atomists, who said that all things are eternal since everything is made up of atoms, and when you cut a person with a knife or a sword, you are only cutting through the atoms and separating the atoms. Nothing is harmed. Then there are the agnostics, who are skeptical of everything that cannot be proven by the senses. If you remember our first lesson, the Buddha's first students were the 5 ascetics who cheered him on when he was practicing austerity. The 5 of them at that time still had the view of a self or soul. The Buddha released this last belief from their mind so that they could attain nibbana or liberation from a conditioned state. To release this belief of a self or a soul, the Buddha said, the form or body is not self. If your body belongs to you as self, you would be able to command it not to grow old, grow sick, or to die. Because the body changes, there is suffering because we don't like it to change, and we believe we have some control over it. What about feelings or sensations? If sensations belong to a self, then the self would be able to control and tell feelings to stay happy all the time. But we know our feelings change even if we don't want it to. We have no control over them. So feelings or sensations cannot be called belonging to I, me, or mine. Then there is perception. We perceive colors, things, people, and they come naturally just like that. Even though how we perceive reality is not accurate, we identify with our perceptions as belonging to I, me, or mine who recognize this particular thing or person. As you go about your daily life, perception happens quickly, and you don't even have a moment or much choice to change your perception. So it cannot possibly belong to a self. The fourth aggregate is mental formations. We live in a world of thoughts, concepts, and beliefs. When you sit still and watch your mind, notice how many ideas and concepts arise without needing any help from you. When we see things and people, we perceive them immediately and form thoughts about them without needing a self or a soul to control this process. The last of the aggregate is consciousness, which is much harder to explain. Well, briefly we can say we are conscious of the things we see, smell, touch, hear, and think about. We have a variety of states of consciousness every moment. For example, first, you're aware of a handsome man or a beautiful girl. Then your consciousness changes when the smell of a fragrant, aromatic coffee nearby catches your attention. This brings your consciousness to the thought, I want a cup of coffee. Again, this rapid change in consciousness is not controlled by a self. It happens. And it is a process. The Buddha then asked his first 5 students if these aggregates are permanent or impermanent. They answered, it's impermanent, because they are always changing. What do you think? If you think you are in control with any of these things and think that they are permanent, would you suffer when they change to a state which you dislike? In the next lesson, we will go further in depth with the 5 aggregates and see how it creates a world of inner experience for us. Please do not believe or disbelieve what is shared here, and explore other information outlets if you are interested to learn more on Buddhism. Thank you very much.